So, today we're going to go back to 1989 and Ghostbusters 2. Ghostbusters 2 is the follow up to the prior film of a similar name, Ghostbusters, although that was not called Ghostbusters 1 at the time. 2 came about 5 years after 1. Most of us know about the plot of Ghostbusters, and indeed Ghostbusters 2, so I won't elaborate at length on them. It's, burnt into our cultural history worldwide, I think. Ghostbusters 2 is not, it's one of, well, not many sequels that are as good as, and possibly better than the first film. I think the first Ghostbusters was very well written. It really was. It paid a lot of low-level attention to detail and comedy. But 2 is also very well constructed and with a thicker flow of action and visuals to please the masses than Ghostbusters 1 had. The photography is a lot higher quality, actually, and the colour and tonality is very, very rich and commercial. And the pacing is very even all the way throughout. I think it's successfully put together film from a technical, from an architectural point of view. And also, I think it's successful, it's funnier as well in many cases. Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd worked on the script together. The two also wrote and starred in the first Ghostbusters, of course. For 2, they wanted to portray the notion of negative emotions manifesting themselves as a supernatural ghostly plasma or slime from which ghosts get their power. Originally, Aykroyd started writing 2 to be set not in America. Dana would be kidnapped and taken to Scotland, and she discovers a fairy ring of mushrooms linked to an underground civilization. And it got a bit complicated, and, well, anyway, that didn't happen. Nevertheless, he wanted to stay with an underground aspect. Now, Ramis suggested making the baby the focus, which was quite an interesting idea. Bill Murray didn't think the baby should be the child of Peter and Dana, as that would put undue emphasis on their relationship at the expense of the rest of the Ghostbusters. So they wrote their relationship as having failed. They situated the Ghostbusters themselves 5 years on from the first film, as, that was really the case, but not enjoying the success the first film left them with. They, for example, they're being sued and they all have other jobs, not necessarily good jobs. Although Bill Murray's piece as a chat show host is very good. Aykroyd and Rams thought it would be funny to make New York be nice or else be destroyed. What if everybody had to be nice for 48 hours, he said. Well, the voice of Viggo the Carpathian was Max von Sydow. He was one of the main actors used by Ingmar Bergman. Bill Murray didn't want to come back to do a sequel originally, and he believed sequels exist only for greed and for business reasons, the latter of which should carry a death sentence. But because they all had so much fun last time, he did come back. An important difference between Ghostbusters 2 and the first one is that there's no smoking in 2, whereas there is actually a lot in the first. Society had moved on in the intervening 5 years enough to make this drastic change show up. And if you look at Ghostbusters 1, it's sort of embarrassingly dirty that people are smoking all the way through. Very odd. But as I say, society had cleaned itself up quite a lot by then. In test screenings, the final 25 minutes simply didn't work with audiences, so they quickly wrote a different 25-minute ending. The audience didn't connect, for example, they didn't connect the slime with positive or negative emotions. They didn't get the connection with Viggo, so scenes were added to hook it all together better. They cut many scenes with Slimer, leaving only 2 scenes for the children, really. The whole of Ghostbusters 2 is a lot more focused towards children, because by that time the real Ghostbusters animated series had come out. So Slimer in Ghostbusters 2 looks a lot more like the animated Slimer in the real Ghostbusters. So they left only 2 Slimer scenes for the children because, unexpectedly, the audience didn't really respond to Slimer one way or the other. Ray Parker Jr., originally of the band Radio, worked on an updated version of the song Ghostbusters, which ended up being co-written and performed by Run DMC. I rate Ghostbusters 2 as a worthy and successful sequel. It does many things correctly and I think it deserves its place. So, Ghostbusters 2, 1989. Thank you very much.